From the rooftop, Laurent could see the puddle where the shrine had been. The swing set, repaired to draw attention from what should be a grave, shone too new. Tattered yellow police tape clung stubbornly to a bench leg.
To come up here to the rooftop, Nella must have imagined she was going to a place like any other place on a map.
Laurent thought.
To climb the flight of stairs with a baby in her arms and her 2 children in tow, 1 flight, then 2. Nella must have thought she was going somewhere.
Laurent had spent many nights reading through Nella's diaries. She could almost hear Nella's soft voice in her ear as she read. In the last 2 journals, the ones she had written since she came to the U.S., Nella's voice sounded more like a plea. One entry was undated, Laurent knew must have been from the 2 weeks ago.
Never have I been thinking of my children as black. How to learn all those things and I heard them. I want to pull my tongue if I made them sad. It makes me so sad I say those things to them. I want them to know how much I love them. I love them and I will keep them safe.
The words haunted Laurent. 2 weeks before the accident, Laurent had complimented Nella on her new scarf.
Why, thank you.
Nella responded with a fake British accent, copying Laurent's own silly talk.
I'm going to have tea with the Queen.
Laurent would say like a true Brit when complimented.
Now, did your special fellow give that to you?
That day, Laurent's voice was high like she was talking to her 2 cats. It was a note away from a tickle.
Nope.
Nella had laughed as if she had been tickled.
It's from my little jigaboos.
She said it all with love.
Your...
Laurent paused.
My little jigaboos. That's what Doug calls them. It's so cute.
Nella, don't say that again. It's not cute.
The first time Laurent heard the word, the first time it was directed at her, she wasn't even 10 years old. Nigger, jigaboo, they were the same. The words came so fast she barely understood that it was language. She was waiting for the bus after the city spelling bee finals. Out on the second round because she spelled fugitive with an A. It was time to go home. Still, she felt good and full of herself. She was wearing her older cousin's hand-me-down pants, a little on the short side, but they were store-bought, not handmade. A fuzzy sweater she thought she would keep forever, and a warm blue winter coat, double-breasted.
Next time,
She thought.
I'll study more words.
Who knows why children decide to bully another? It started with kicking dirt on Laurent. The white boys, not much bigger, not much older, waited at the same bus stop with her in the good part of town. Kicking up dirt, you know the way they do. Like it was just an accident. Oops, sorry, and then they would laugh. Laurent had been taught to ignore bullies, but as the boys got louder, they kicked the dirt and laughed harder. And they said,
Oops, sorry, high-water girl.
Oops, sorry, ugly face. Sorry, strawhead.
Sorry, jigaboo.
Sorry, nigger.
and then it was nigger, 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 sung and shouted like a top 40 pop song. Nigger, 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 jigaboo. Lauren's mother had her own story of the first time I was called a nigger. Her father did too. These stories were passed down to Lauren when it happened to her that day. They did not help her stop crying. They did not soothe.
Nigger? Nella, it means nigger.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Nella had said.
Oh, goodness, no. I didn't know. Oh, I knew about the other word.
Nigger?
Lauren had said it again as if she were preempting Nella from saying it.
Oh, that's a terrible word.
It's the same thing.
Lauren's voice had more anger in it than she meant.
I didn't know.
Nella had said again, in almost a whisper.
Do you think, Lauren, do you think the kids know? Is it something you would just know, the word?
Lauren didn't know how to answer.
Nella, they know you love them.
But I don't ever want them to think I'd let anything hurt them.
They know.
I want them to really know.
And like a flash, a second thought, Nella had said.
I don't think Doug means that.
But the way Nella had said it, Lauren thought she didn't seem so sure. Whatever authority that was in Nella's voice came from a desire to believe, not belief, that the man she had left her marriage for wasn't the worst thing she could have wished on her kids.
These white girls think all they need is love.
What might Nella have seen that day? Not tall buildings or city streets, not the treeless courtyard below. Try hard as she might, Lauren couldn't sweep away the view. But Nella must have. What must Nella have seen? Not the ground, but an expanse. It was this step and then another, then another. This was what Nella saw. This was what Nella did. She was journeying to where her love was enough and it could fill the sky.
And Illumination Project players, would you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Amada Rabalaman.
I'm Roser Burgos.
And I'm Seth Howerton.
That was so amazing. Was it difficult for you to listen to that? It was difficult for me to listen to that word. One of the things that I wanted to explore in this book is the importance of language. And I can tell you, even though, I'm well illuminated today, I am light-skinned, and I have blue eyes, I never experienced that kind of moment myself when I was a kid, someone calling me the N-word. It didn't happen until I was 28 years old. And it absolutely rocked me to my core because I thought, I have 2 master's degrees. How could you possibly call me that? And it was in part that experience at 28 that started to draw me to writing about these issues of race. I needed to write about it because I needed to figure it out in some way. I have such a hard time listening to that word also that, I was sitting here starting to shake, in fact, and I never read that passage out loud because it's just too difficult for me. There is something that we have to remember ultimately, that if we're going to say that stories have power, then I think we also have to say that words have power. And so to be able to think about the words we use is very important. I don't really know what else to say about that passage, only because I am shaken to the core. But I will tell you also, I chose that passage for them to read. And so I should have prepared myself better, but there's something different about actually hearing people read that out loud. Again, that passage is from later on in the book. I don't think we've spoiled it still for the person out there. You don't have to do this yet. The reason I wanted Lerone to investigate this, and the reason I needed that character in the book, was that I needed someone to advocate for Nella in a lot of ways. And I needed it to be an African-American woman so that there would be a scene where there was some connection between these women, but also that there would be a rupture in that connection because of the ways that we talk about and deal with race in America. The book, though, is also about motherhood in a lot of ways. I'm not a mother myself, but I have a mother who I adore, and it's about the ways in which mothers do their best, of course, but they're also concerned with the safety of their children. And the book is very much about, can mothers really identify all of the dangers that their children face? Can they actually protect them from all of those dangers, especially if it's someone that they've invited into their inner circle? I don't know what else to say about that because I feel so uncomfortable having put that word out in the world. I hope you guys are okay. Maybe we should have given you a warning that we were going to say that word out loud so much. So sorry for that. I think there's something easier about reading it on the page than hearing it out loud. But they did a stellar job today. Thank you guys so much. That was amazing.